So you're eating clean, but you can't lose weight. You're choosing the salad over the dessert. You're skipping bread. You're maybe doing a keto diet. You're maybe going paleo. I'm going to show you how my client Jonathan gained 3 pounds of muscle and lost 1% of body fat in 3 weeks by fixing these 3 things. Number 1 is the healthy fat trap. Number 2 is the actual effect of gut and hormones. And number 3 is metabolic adaptation. My name is Jorge. I'm an evidence-based health coach, and I've helped over 100 busy executives all around the world heal their gut, lose body fat, and live life more fully by getting their health back. So number 1, the healthy fat trap. To give you a good example of this, I had a client come to me once years ago, and she said that she was doing a ketogenic diet because her doctor had recommended it. Now, she didn't tell me this until later, but I found out that she had actually been sold a $100 bottle of extra virgin olive oil that was biodynamic, organic, regeneratively raised, touched by God, all these sorts of health buzzwords. She ended up buying this bottle of olive oil. The doctor that sold it to her told her, you need to be adding 3 tablespoons of this in addition to everything you're already consuming on a daily basis. This is going to help you with your heart health. It's going to help with your insulin resistance. It's going to help with fat burning, going to get you into ketosis, all these amazing benefits, basically. She did that. And not only was she not losing weight anymore, because initially she did see some weight loss. Most people do when they go on a ketogenic diet at first, but a lot of it is water. She saw initial weight loss, but then she stalled. But then she actually started gaining weight. This is one of the cruelest forms of torture ever, that you eliminate carbs from your diet only to gain weight. That sucks. But what was happening, right? She was in ketosis. If she measured her blood, if she measured her urine, you could see that she is in deep ketosis. So clearly something is working, but it's clearly not giving her the intended outcome, which is to lose weight. She's gaining weight. So the problem is extra virgin olive oil healthy? Absolutely. There's hundreds of studies on olive oil and its benefits to cardiovascular health, to mental health and cognition, to inflammation. It is a very rich source of polyphenols and vitamin E. There's a ton of great things about olive oil. However, that doesn't excuse the fact that it is a calorie-rich food. And if you consume 3 extra tablespoons on top of everything that you're consuming in a day, that is roughly 400 to 500 extra calories that you're having every single day. There is no free lunch when it comes to nutrition, pun intended, and extra virgin olive oil is no different. She was adding about 2,800 calories per week, which is why she was gaining some weight. So fat has 9 calories per gram, whereas carbohydrates actually have 4 calories per gram. That's not to say one is better than another. You clearly need healthy fats in your diet, but it's just to say if you're having this amount, I don't know why I put my fist up like that, you're having this amount of, let's say, olive oil versus this amount of white rice, you're going to get so many more calories, more than double the amount of calories from the fat that you will from the carbs. Easy culprits of this that she was doing in addition to that crazy amount of olive oil she was consuming. She was also eating a ton of nut butters, so macadamia nut butter, peanut butter, sunflower butter, and she was just pounding bags of nuts because those are good sources of fats. So she was overdoing it on multiple levels on fats. And were they healthy? Yes. Were they calorie dense as well? And making her gain this excess weight? 100%. So look, fats are healthy, but portions do matter. Number 2, gut and hormones. I promise you this is not going to be another bullshit selling point on you need to buy this hormone balancing supplement, or you need to go on this gut detox, comment gut, and I'll send you my 21-day gut. Not like that, I promise. The issue is when I first started on my own health journey, and like many others who had chronic health conditions, I was very disappointed with the modern medical system and saw how they handled things with fat loss, with gut health, with mental health. And so I went all the way in the opposite direction, and I started listening to the gut health gurus, to the hormone gurus, and they would say things like what I just said, the detox, the hormone balancing, with no conception of what physiology actually looks like. And so then I became entirely against the holistic side of things, and I said, oh my God, both of these extremes are terrible. And yes, because extremes in health are always terrible. And that's one thing I had to learn the hard way myself by doing years of trial and error, actually making myself worse before I made myself better. So I'm going to have you avoid that pain, because gut and hormones absolutely play a role in fat loss, but it's not the direct role that you might think. So first, we know that there's communication between the brain and the gut up to the brain. That includes things like cravings, mood, mental clarity, motivation. So if your gut is imbalanced, if you have one of these 3 things, you have either leaky gut, we can talk about some lab tests on another day. You have gut dysbiosis, so this is an imbalance of good and bad gut microbiome, or you have slow transit time. That means you are either constipated or the amount of time that it takes for mouth to anus is longer than it should be. We can talk about some exact time ranges in a different video and how to actually test your bowel transit time at home. So if you have one of these 3 things, or more than one of these three things, then it is likely you have a dysfunction at the level of your gut, which may be affecting your cravings, your motivation to go to the gym, your energy levels. All of those things indirectly or directly affect your fat loss efforts. So if you're wondering, why is it so hard to maintain this calorie deficit and I'm not losing weight? It might be because your gut is actually fighting against you. Here's another easy example. Cortisol, most people know as the body's primary stress hormone. Research has shown that 70% of people or more actually overeat in response to stress. No duh, not a revelation by any means. Most of us know that when we are very stressed out, we seek those comforting foods and we tend to overeat on them. So the thing is, I have no problem with intuition, with intuitive eating. However, if you have a gut or a hormone problem, your intuition is broken. You cannot trust your intuition at that point. You need to go and fix the root cause, which is your gut, your hormones. Because high cortisol will lead to that increased appetite. Gut issues can lead to those cravings, low motivation, low energy and mood, which can make it harder for you to actually go to the gym and push hard enough for you to get a benefit so you can build muscle and lose body fat. Low thyroid can also promote water retention. So maybe you actually are losing some body fat, but you can't see it on the scale yet. In addition to that, low thyroid also causes low energy levels, it's linked to brain fog, fatigue, which makes it harder to all the things that I just outlined earlier. And finally, like low testosterone can greatly affect your body's ability to lose body fat. Now, this is bidirectional because if you lose weight, your testosterone will likely improve, especially if you're a guy who's starting out, has 20, maybe 30 pounds extra weight to lose. So yes, you definitely get healthy when you lose weight, but it also works the reverse way. If you get healthy, weight loss becomes a whole lot easier. That means if you focus on your gut and hormone health, fat loss can be less of an uphill battle. Is it an absolute necessity for you to focus on gut and hormones for you to lose body fat? No, it isn't. For many people, they can simply do a calorie deficit, move more, eat less, and they can get away with it. The problem is most people, 80+% of people who do fat loss diets like that, they end up regaining the weight. And oftentimes no one asks why. They just say it was a problem with their willpower or discipline. Yes, there is absolutely a time and a place to exert willpower and discipline. But if there are so many people that are dealing with this, especially busy executives like yourself, you're a high performer, you're a business owner, a founder, you have so much stress on your plate that it's no wonder you probably have some form of hormonal dysregulation. You probably have some form of a gut issue. Your sleep might be suffering. And so yes, you can force your body, you can will your way into a calorie deficit and see some weight loss, but that weight is going to come right back and rebound if you are not focused on gut and hormone health as well. So here are a few concrete tests that you can take a look at to actually see the state of your gut and hormone health. So number one would be the GI map. So the GI map gives you a comprehensive picture of your gut microbiome. That means viruses, fungi, bacteria, parasites, intestinal health markers, how well you digest fat, how well you can actually produce digestive enzymes. So this gives you a great picture into understanding, might your gut health be impacting your fat loss efforts? We do comprehensive hormone testing as well. So things like cortisol and DHEA, things like testosterone for men and for women, full thyroid panel, which means TSH, free T3, free T4, reverse T3. We look at vitamin D, so 25-hydroxy. We're also looking at a full iron panel because if you don't have the energy to get up and go to the gym and resistance train, if you lose weight, a lot of that weight will come from muscle and not from body fat. Because look, without testing, you're in la la land and you're in influencer, gut health guru, hormone guru land, and you're not actually having concrete answers to why you're not able to lose weight despite eating healthy, eating clean. So this is also where it can be a really good idea if you're somebody who actually has pre-existing gut issues already, to do 2 other tests at home that are free. So the first one would be bowel transit time test. So this is where you have either corn, quinoa, you have sesame seeds. You actually eat these, you don't chew these very well, and you note the amount of time it takes for them to show up in your stool. From several microbiome researchers, they suggest that your first initial sighting should be between 14 to 24 hours from when you actually ingested those foods. So Dr. Horelak is one of the main researchers and clinicians who has seen that in his patients, the ones who have the greatest health benefits is the ones who kind of stick within that 14 to 24-hour range. More than that, it can tend to indicate that you have a slow transit time, which leads to a whole host of negative issues. Definitely need another video to cover that. But you also want complete clearance. That means you don't want to see any more of those foods in your stool by 36 hours. The second thing you want to test for with your gut that's free and you can do at home is simply doing 14 days of a Bristol stool chart tracking. So you want to note exactly what time of day, the date, the type of stools from 1 to 7. Generally, stools type 3 through 5 are considered to be healthy. And Dr. Horelak actually suggests you be between 2 to 3 bowel movements every single day. Okay, moving on to number 3, metabolic adaptations. So this is another one where it's totally butchered by online health gurus who are selling you fat loss pills and metabolism boosters, but I'm talking about something very different that is a very well-known phenomenon of physiology. So basically what happens when you're chronically dieting, when you're somebody who has lost and regained weight multiple times in your life, and maybe these are actually quite severe weight loss and regain episodes, what can happen is your body, kind of like a thermostat, tends to drop your metabolic rate down. There's a wide range of how many fewer calories you burn if you're somebody who has that history of chronic dieting, from as low as 100 calories beyond 600 calories. So if you compare two versions of yourself, version 1 is you, that person who has had chronic dieting history, you've lost and regained the weight multiple times, and you pair that with that same version of you who hasn't lost and regained weight multiple times, version 1 will burn up to 600 calories fewer than version 2. That is an entire meal. That's a decent sized meal. And so if you have to eat 600 fewer calories per day, how much more difficult is it going to be for you to actually be able to lose the weight despite eating clean, right? Way more difficult. You're fighting an uphill battle. Can it be done? Absolutely. Are you unnecessarily fighting against yourself to do so? Yeah. The way out of this is not to keep on lowering your calorie intake further and further and further until you're basically eating like a pigeon. You should aim to restore metabolic function first. So that means to do what is called a reverse diet. Many people can benefit from this. It's much better to do it gradually than to do it with stripping the Band-Aid off. You can kind of gain excess water weight and body fat, and it can be kind of uncomfortable at first. You can also have some gut issues associated with doing a very severe reverse diet. This is something that countless clients, especially those who have had a history of chronic dieting, losing and regaining the weight, that they can see pretty immediate benefits to biofeedback. So their sleep gets better, their stress gets better, their energy gets better, their recovery time from the gym gets way better. And so this is a very simple way for you to restore that metabolic function, to kind of bring you out of that dip in your metabolic rate so that you can start to burn the normal amount of calories that you should based on your height, age, weight, and sex. So if you actually want to integrate these tips into your life and you're somebody who has been eating clean, then I'm going to leave you with 3 main resources here below this video that you can check out for yourself. So number 1 is going to be the metabolic assessment. This is something that I have all clients go through at the beginning. Basically, it's a very short questionnaire that goes through and tells you what is likely going on with your metabolism, and are you truly ready for a fat loss phase, or might you benefit from some of that metabolic restoration phase. That will give you a score from 1 to 100 that will tell you roughly where you are at and what exactly you need to do to get out of that. And number 2, I'm going to leave you with my 5-step gut health protocol. This is one if you're already struggling with some gut issues, and no matter what level you're at, this can give you some good indication on testing, on the phases of true gut support that can help you, starting from just the foundational lifestyle habits all the way to a little bit more advanced strategies that you can start to use. And number 3, I'm also going to leave you with my Fat Loss Forever protocol. So this is a training that I did, that I use with clients, and I use with my client Jonathan in order to get him, to allow him to build up those 3 pounds of muscle and lose that 1% of body fat in less than a month. And I'm also most active on Instagram at rth.coaching, where you can follow me for more gut health and evidence-based fat loss. Hope you enjoyed the video, and please leave a comment and a like if you found this helpful.